it really speaks to the state of where the Premier League is right now that our next topic may be even more outlandish than Manchester City, and that's Chelsea. The Times is reporting that Premier League is considering a fresh bid to close this PSR loophole, where Chelsea are using kind of other assets to basically, register them as income under Chelsea FC's holdings. Obviously, they sold their 2 hotels to a sister company for £76.5 million. What is the ruling of this going to be, and how can we continue to stop this, as you say, financial doping in the Premier League?
Well, this I think is all around about the PSR requirements rather so much than financial doping. And I did think they sold the properties not to a sister company but to another hotel group. So to give them their due, that's where they went. But however, the valuation again seems to be a big issue. I'm unclear yet as to whether the Premier League have actually approved that transaction and also the sale of their training ground, whether those have actually been approved. I know they've been under analysis by the Premier League, and I've yet to hear a final outcome of those discussions. Look, it is an issue. There's no doubt about it. And again, I come back to what I just said, that the clubs had a chance at the summer meeting to actually close that loophole, and they've chosen not to do it for whatever reason. They may have felt that was the particular time not to vote on that. They wanted more information, and so that may be the case. But these things have got to be tightened up. There's no doubt about it. And these sort of related party transactions just have a whiff of something about them that isn't right. And I think if we're going to try and encourage genuine competition and integrity at in sporting competition at the Premier League, then these things have got to be resolved. The fans understand it. Common sense tells you it's just not right.
For sure. And, is it possible in your head that certain clubs are not voting this because they're seeing the success that a club like Chelsea is having, being able to kind of use other assets to help fund football, and thinking, oh, in the future, maybe we can do that to, spend the kind of money Chelsea is spending?
Yeah, look, it's a very complex thing. I've been in those boardrooms when those votes are being taken, and you're often conflicted because you're thinking, okay, I want to block that off for Chelsea or another club from doing that. But then you might be thinking, well, hang on, if I do that, then I may not be as attractive if we're trying to sell to a new owner or to a new investor who wants to do these sort of things. So there's often a conflict. There'll be all sorts of political conflicts going on as well. There could be a player discussion that's going on between those two clubs at the time. You may not want to destabilise that particular negotiation. There's all sorts of reasons as to why you may vote politically and why often people owe each other a favour on different votes or different things. It's never quite as it ever seems. Nothing's ever as clear as it ever seems in the Premier League. And in this case, that's particularly true.
For sure. And speaking of things that are not clear, it doesn't seem clear to any fans, whether you're a Chelsea fan or not, how they can continue to spend the way that they're spending. They've just brought in Pedro Neto for £54 million. Mike Penders, a goalkeeper who's made just 2 senior appearances, for £17 million. The list goes on and on. I don't need to name the 35 players they've brought in the last 2 years, but how are they getting away with this in terms of PSR rules? Is it just the amortization of these contracts?
I don't think it's the amortization, which is certainly a part of it, but when they're putting forward things like selling their women's team to another part of the club and they're valuing it at $200 million, I find that strange, and I know that's being analysed as well. I don't know I really don't understand how Chelsea can carry on spending the money as they have been. It is, I'm shaking my head because, of all these transactions that we're talking about, training grounds, hotels, women's club, etc., are all still under analysis. It seems like Chelsea are sort of going to say, okay, we're going to do it, then beg for forgiveness, or they are going to get some sort of penalty at some stage. It really is difficult to understand. And certainly also on the football side, they're amassing all this, talent, a huge pool of talent. I think the Chelsea depth in their squad is amazing. And so, something's just not, again, doesn't seem right at the moment. And we're all still trying to get to the bottom of what's happening.
For sure, and you talk about that depth. Obviously, they have players like Trevor Chalobah, Armando Broja, Romelu Lukaku, who have been barred from first-team facilities, potentially Conor Gallagher if that move falls through to Atletico Madrid. Is it possible that the club is potentially actually breaching employment laws by doing this?
No, I don't think you're going to be breaching employment laws. I've been in that situation before when I've had to work with the manager and we've had to put players, as long as they're given access to the training facilities and medical facilities, I don't think you'd be breaching any employment law. It would be interesting for a player to challenge that legally and say that because they're not given the whole first team, experience, that they're not being given their employment rights. However, on the other side, as you can imagine, I mean, why would you have a player who's about to potentially leave be party to all the training techniques and secrets that are going on for the next season? So there is a very fair point as well that why those sort of players who are about to move should be excluded from the first team squad. The manager doesn't want to invest time, effort, energy and knowledge into those players knowing they're going to be moving on. So look, I think it's something that's been established in football for a long time. It's a big signal from the club that you've got to, you should be going. And if it's a big offer that the club's accepted, then I think it's fair. The players have got to understand that maybe their time is up at that particular club.